You're watching News 10 NBC at 11 with Rich Funky, Jennifer Johnson, Chief Meteorologist Kevin Williams, and Sports with Mark Grubaugh. Coverage you can count on. This is News 10 NBC at 11.
It is the awful illness that has a name some people, quite frankly, laugh at. Chronic fatigue syndrome. People say, you know, I'm tired, I must have that. But the truth is, CFS is so much more than being tired. It is a debilitating illness that affects the body and the mind, often leaving patients unable to work for years, while skeptics whisper that it's all in their head. Now, I know that pain firsthand, as do some others here in Rochester. But we fought for and are finally getting some recognition. Washington, D.C., the site of a dream come true for me and a million other Americans, including a Fairport woman, a former NFL player from Rockport, and a world-renowned doctor from Orleans County. The journey began for me in 1994. A high school sophomore, I was a three-sport varsity athlete and an honor student who worked a part-time job and dreamed of playing soccer in college. But within a few months, I could barely take a shower, cut my food, or focus my thoughts. Junior and senior year of high school, I couldn't go to class and was tutored at home. To make matters worse, getting diagnosed with CFS isn't easy. Doctors wrote notes to my teachers explaining there is no test for the illness. You rule out everything else, then have to have a majority of these symptoms for 6 months or more. Impaired memory or concentration, extreme prolonged exhaustion, unrefreshing sleep, muscle pain, joint pain, headaches, frequent sore throat, and tender lymph nodes. But many people, even some doctors, didn't and still don't think that CFS is real. That's why this 1994 Boston Globe article meant so much. It was my story front and center on the Sunday sports page, and it was one of the first mainstream articles about CFS, one that prompted thank you notes from other CFS patients, grateful they finally had proof to show skeptics. The article also featured Gino Oliveri, a former NFL player and Monroe County sheriff, who was so sick with CFS he could barely lift a glass of water. Robin Durham of Fairport knows the struggle too.
You always think that you're going to get better and go back, and for me it's been 11 years and it just hasn't happened.
A 1992 Fairport grad, Robin wanted to be a lawyer. In an accelerated program, she finished undergrad in 3 years. But in her first semester at Albany Law School, she got sick with CFS.
Yeah, it's definitely obliterated, pretty much any kind of normal life that I would have expected, having a career and a relationship and children, and the normal things that people try to pursue has pretty much eluded me entirely because of this disease.
There's no question that it's a real illness.
Dr. David Bell lives in the small Orleans County town of Lyndonville, but is known worldwide as a CFS expert. People have traveled from Japan, Italy, and Alaska just to see him.
These patients are completely disabled. They lose their job, they lose their friends. Many of them lose their family, and no one believes that they're sick because they look relatively well.
In fact, this is what they look like. This photo exhibit, along with announcements on TV, radio, and in print, are all part of a new public awareness campaign launched Friday by the CDC in Washington.
I think we are beginning to open the shroud of mystery that has clouded this illness for a long time.
Dr. Julie Gerberding is head of the CDC, where researchers are studying CFS.
It's an incredibly debilitating illness that hasn't really been taken seriously by the medical and scientific community for some time, and I think that is because it's very complex.
But now top medical schools and newly funded National Institutes of Health Studies are also working to unlock the mystery.
Well, the bad news is we still don't know what causes it or how to treat it successfully. But the good news is that there are now over 4,000 published studies that show underlying biological abnormalities in patients with this illness.
And that is proof, these researchers say, that CFS is not a psychological problem. While it is depressing living with an illness that some people think is fake, that there is no real treatment for and no answer to if you'll ever recover, the root of it is physical. Researchers have pinpointed abnormalities in the brain and in the immune system.
And there's evidence that the patients with this illness experience a level of disability that's equal to that of patients with late-stage AIDS, patients undergoing chemotherapy, patients with multiple sclerosis.
Dr. Bell is also featured in the campaign, an effort he calls victorious validation for patients in need.
They haven't been able to convince their congressmen or their physicians or other people of importance that their illness is real and that their lives have been just turned upside down.
Why did hundreds in Lyndonville become sick with CFS 20 years ago? Why have some recovered and some have not? Why did I feel better after 5 years, but Gino Oliveri and Robin Durham still struggle? Researchers are still trying to figure out the mystery. And until then, it seems the best treatment for CFS is bravery, hope, and patience.
Even though it's 11 years, I still always have that in the back of my mind that maybe I could, even if I could just work part-time or reclaim some small bit of life, I think that's sort of what gets me through.
Now, Rich, of course, informing the public is what this is all about. The CDC has set up a website about chronic fatigue syndrome, and you can get there through a web link at news10nbc.com.
You're one of the lucky ones.
I am.
You're better. You don't know how you got it. You don't know how you got over it.
True.
There's no support group available, any of these things. If people are watching tonight and they believe that they may have this, beyond the website, what can they do? Are there doctors that they can see beyond Dr. Bell?
That's the tough part. Dr. Bell is a very busy guy, and it's often hard to get an appointment with him. And I feel badly sitting here saying that there's really not much you can do. Doctors are welcome to go to that website. The CDC is hoping you'll go to that website, and hopefully for anyone who might have this, hopefully you'll have an understanding doctor, an open-minded doctor who's read this research and hopefully can help steer you toward a diagnosis. I hope.
Well, the CDC has taken an important first step.
And we are very happy about it.
All right, Jen. Some showers today. Will the warm-up continue? Kevin will have his forecast when we come back.